He was just a poor student scribbling notes in a history lecture. She was the kind-hearted girl who shared her lunch, seeing only a fellow soul in need. But, my goodness, what she didn't know was shocking. His worn-out backpack didn't just hold books, it held a family diary. And that diary contained a secret that would change everything. He wasn't just Rodney Newman. He was the lost heir to a powerful dukedom. This isn't just a love story, it's a test of the human heart. Have you ever felt like the world is full of fake people? That everyone has a hidden motive, a price for their kindness? That's the drama Rodney Newman believed. He went rich in disguise, shedding his title to prove that true love was a lie. He designed a cruel experiment, but he never planned for one variable: Jean Fuller. She was genuinely good, and her simple kindness shattered his entire cynical world. This is the story of what happens when a secret identity crashes into destiny. The plot twist waiting for them is emotional and life-changing. This journey will drag them through humiliation, heartbreaking choices, and public shame. He will have to choose between the dukedom he was born into and the woman who saved him. She will have to forgive a lie that feels impossible to overcome. This is a story about redemption and the power of a single heart-touching act. Get ready for a romance that was tested in the cruelest way possible. If you believe that character is worth more than wealth, this story is for you. We're about to dive deep into this shocking surprise. So, do us a favor, hit that like button as a sign of respect for Jean's dignity. Comment below with what you would do if you found the secret. And subscribe, because you won't want to miss how this unfolds. Let's go. You know, you always think you know who people are, don't you? In that dusty university library, Jean Fuller was an open book. Or, well, at least she seemed to be. She was the definition of genuine kindness. While others saw college as a social ladder, Jean just saw it as a privilege. She carried her worn-out textbooks and her brown bag lunch with the same quiet dignity. One day, she noticed a classmate, a guy who looked really down on his luck. It was a common sight, but something right there was about to change their destiny. This classmate was Rodney Newman, the other poor student in history class. He was quiet, almost cold, with eyes that seemed to analyze everything. No one could have possibly guessed the intense drama hiding behind that facade. After all, Rodney was nothing like he appeared. This wasn't just any student. He was the rich in disguise, a future duke testing the world's integrity. His secret identity was his armor against the phoniness he'd known his whole life. He was on a personal mission to prove that kindness didn't exist without a price tag. Jean Fuller, however, didn't see a secret identity, she just saw a hungry classmate. She'd watched him for days, always the same closed-off expression, always without lunch. Oh, what the heck, she must have thought, pushing past her own shyness. She walked over to his table, and the silence in the library alcove was palpable. "Hey," she said softly, sliding her own sandwich across the worn-out wood. "You look like you need this." Rodney Newman looked up, and the shock on his face was almost invisible, but it was there. It was a simple act, but to him, it was a heart-touching anomaly. Rodney, the heir to a vast dukedom, was used to people wanting something. His entire life was a chess game of ulterior motives. This was supposed to be no different. He stared at the simple lunch, then at Jean's honest, expecting nothing face. He almost refused. In his world, a free gift was just the first down payment. He was here, disguised as a poor student, specifically to prove that very point. But his ironically rumbling stomach and her sincerity disarmed him. He accepted, and the first brick in his cynical wall began to wobble. What a plot twist, right? The man who could buy the entire cafeteria. The rich in disguise heir, accepting half a sandwich he didn't need. Jean Fuller just smiled, a genuine, warm smile, and went back to her studies. For her, that was it. The matter was closed. She'd done what felt right. But for Rodney, the drama was only just beginning. This didn't compute. Had he, the lost heir on a mission, found the one person who wasn't playing an angle? This love story, if you could even call it that yet, didn't start with a dance, it started with kindness. Rodney Newman spent the rest of the afternoon completely split. What in the world was that? He chewed the sandwich he didn't need, tasting something that wasn't just bread. It was authenticity. And my goodness, that scared him more than any corporate boardroom. He decided, right then, he would keep watching Jean Fuller. Everyone has a price. He just didn't realize that while he had endless cash, she was struggling for cents. The real poor student was sitting right next to him, and her struggle was genuine. He was about to see just how deep that struggle went. He finished the history assignment, his mind miles away from the text. This secret identity thing was supposed to be simple. Expose the greed, laugh about it, and go back to his dukedom justified in his cynicism. But Jean's simple act of kindness felt emotional. It was a heart-touching gesture that threw a wrench in his entire experiment. He looked over at her again, lost in her books, completely unaware. This romance was starting on a foundation of pure deception. He packed his bag, the cold poor student facade locking back into place. He gave her a curt nod as he left, which she returned with a small wave. Rodney Newman walked out of the library and into the rain, feeling something. Was it guilt? Annoyance? He couldn't pin it down. This plot twist was unwelcome. He needed her to be fake. Because if she was real, then his whole life, his whole worldview, was wrong. And that was a life-changing thought he wasn't ready to face. The next few weeks were a study in contrasts. A real drama of two worlds. Rodney watched as Jean Fuller juggled 2 jobs and a full course load. He saw the exhaustion she tried to hide, the worn thin soles of her shoes. She was the true definition of a poor student, fighting for every credit. Yet, she never complained. She just kept going. It was maddening. Rodney, meanwhile, would leave the library and return to a 5-star hotel. The guilt was a new, unwelcome companion on his rich-in-disguise journey. One rainy afternoon, they found themselves as the last 2 studying in the common room. The pressure was getting to her. A tuition payment was late. Jean, mistaking his silence for camaraderie, finally opened up. She spoke of her dreams, not of wealth, but of simply being a historian. She wanted to preserve stories, to make a small difference. That's it. She shared her struggles, laughing weakly about eating ramen for a week straight. Rodney Newman, the heir to a dukedom, just listened, his stomach twisting. Good grief, the irony was suffocating. Her genuine poverty made his secret identity feel cheap and cruel. This wasn't an experiment, it was a mockery. This love story was becoming a tale of profound imbalance. He felt a pang of guilt so sharp it almost made him confess.
This emotional weight was new to him. He was supposed to be in control, but her honesty was a life-changing mirror to his own deception. "It'll be worth it," she said, more to herself than to him. "This struggle, it's just temporary." Rodney felt a coldness creep in a defense mechanism. His mission wasn't to feel pity, it was to find a crack in her armor. This must be it. She was sharing her dreams, the poor student sob story. This was a prelude to asking for a loan, for help, for something. He braced himself, his cynical dukedom-trained mind waiting for the ask. But the ask never came. She just sighed, smiled, and went back to her textbook. This plot twist was more subtle, but shocking nonetheless. She didn't want his money, which she didn't know he had. She just wanted a listener. This simple act of sharing dreams was, for her, an act of kindness to herself. It was a moment of connection, and it was heart-touching in its purity. Rodney Newman, the man who had everything, had never felt so poor. This romance was taking a turn he was not prepared for. Her destiny seemed so fragile, while his was a suffocating certainty. He couldn't reconcile the two. The Jean Fuller who gave away her lunch. The poor student who dreamed of history, not of diamonds. And the heir, Rodney, who was living a lie to prove a point that was crumbling. It just didn't add up. His guilt was now mixed with a heavy dose of shock and admiration. He was the rich in disguise, but she was the one with true wealth. He felt a desperate, emotional need to protect her, which conflicted with his mission. He maintained his cold facade, but boy, it was getting harder. Tuition is a nightmare, he muttered, trying to play his part. Tell me about it, she laughed, unaware of the drama sitting opposite her. This conversation, this moment, was life-changing for Rodney. It was the first time he had seen genuine poverty, not as a statistic, but as a person named Gene Fuller, whose kindness was relentless. And he, the heir to the dukedom, was about to make her struggle even harder. He realized the secret identity was no longer just an experiment. It was a trap, and he was the one caught in it. He wanted to help her, to just write a check and end her financial drama. But he couldn't. To do so would be to reveal himself. And worse, it would prove his own cynical theory that kindness could be bought. He was stuck, a silent observer, feeling the pangs of a love story he couldn't stop. His redemption was nowhere in sight. Rodney's internal conflict made him defensive. He had to regain control. The next day, he found Jean in the cafeteria, and he put his cold mask back on. He had to push her. He had to find the angle. There had to be an angle. You know, he started, his voice dripping with cynicism he usually reserved for his family. This whole helpful thing you do, it's a bit much, isn't it? Jean Fuller looked up, confused, a fork full of cheap pasta halfway to her mouth. The drama he was initiating felt sudden and cruel, but necessary for his mission. What do you mean, thing? She asked, her brow furrowed. This kindness, Rodney sneered, playing the part of the jaded poor student. Nobody is that nice for no reason. What's your play, Jean? He was actively trying to shatter the heart-touching image he had of her. He needed her to be fake. He needed his rich and disguised worldview to be validated. This was it. Head push, and she'd reveal her price. This was the moment the love story would be exposed as a transaction. Jean looked genuinely stunned and hurt. Ouch! That stung, even him. My play? She repeated, her voice small. I don't know what you mean. Oh, come on. Rodney scoffed, leaning in. Everyone has a price. Everyone. He was quoting his father, the Duke, words that had built his dukedom. You're nice to me. You're nice to the librarian. What are you after? He was projecting his own secret identity issues onto her. This emotional confrontation was a test, and he was desperate for her to fail. She put her fork down, her appetite gone. The hurt in her eyes was shocking. I'm after hoping people are decent, she said, her voice quiet but firm. I guess I was wrong about you. Rodney. She stood up, picked up her tray, and walked away. Well, that wasn't the plan. He hadn't broken her head, just hurt her. This plot twist left him sitting alone, feeling like the villain in his own drama. His cynical words hung in the air, tasting like ash. He felt awful. This was a new, terrible feeling. This redemption arc he didn't even know he was on just took a nosedive. He wasn't just a rich in disguise observer. He was a bully. He was using his secret identity as a weapon against the one person showing him kindness. This romance, if it ever had a chance, was now poisoned by his own actions. He, the heir, had acted like anything but a nobleman. This life-changing moment revealed more about him than it did about her. He sat there for a long time, the cafeteria emptying around him. His cynical beliefs were his only defense, and she had just walked right through them. She didn't fight. She didn't bargain. She didn't reveal a price. She just left. She defended her worldview by simply living it. My goodness, this poor student, Gene Fuller, had more integrity than his entire dukedom. He was supposed to be the one testing her, but it was his character that was failing spectacularly. This shocking realization hit him hard. He was questioning her kindness because he had never seen it modeled. His world was transactions. Her world was connection. This love story was becoming a heart-touching lesson in his own failures. He had to fix this. But how? How could the cold, cynical poor student apologize? He, Rodney Newman, was completely, totally lost. He realized his experiment was flawed from the start. He, the rich in disguise, was looking for greed, so that's all he could see. Jean Fuller was a surprise variable he never accounted for. Her genuine goodness wasn't a strategy, it was her destiny. And he had just trampled all over it with his privileged assumptions. The emotional toll of his own deception was becoming unbearable. This drama was 100 his own creation. It took Rodney 2 days to work up the nerve to apologize. He found Jean studying, as always, and mumbled a clumsy "I'm sorry." She just nodded, accepting it with a grace he definitely didn't deserve. The tension was thick, but as they sat in silence, something new entered the room. Isabella Montgomery, a notoriously snobby and wealthy classmate, sauntered over. Oh, great. Just what this drama needed. Isabella eyed Jean's worn-out clothes with open disgust. Honestly, Jean, Isabella sneered, her voice loud enough for the section to hear. Is that the only sweater you own? It's distressing. Rodney tensed. This was the kind of casual cruelty he expected from his dukedom circles. He, the rich in disguise, was suddenly furious. But before he could say a word, Jean Fuller looked up calmly. Here it comes, he thought, the emotional breakdown. But, surprise! That's not what happened at all. Jean slowly closed her book, her gaze steady. My clothes are none of your business, Isabella, she said, her voice low. But since you're so interested, they're paid for. By me. Unlike your tuition, which I hear Daddy has threatened to cut off, she added. Whoa! The shocking clapback echoed in the quiet library. Rodney watched, stunned, and he had to admit, deeply impressed. Jean Fuller had a spine of steel beneath that kindness. Isabella turned betrayed, sputtering. She hadn't expected the poor student to fight back. She muttered something vile and stormed off, leaving silence in her wake. Rodney looked at Jean, who let out a shaky breath and opened her book. That was... Rodney started. Amazing. Jean shrugged, a small, tired smile on her face. Dignity is free. Dignity is free. That one hit him hard. This love story just got a plot twist of resilience. Rodney, the heir, had watched countless people bow and scrape to bullies like Isabella. Had seen people trade their dignity for a shred of access or favor. But Jean, the poor student, defended herself with quiet, unshakable dignity. It was a life-changing display of self-worth. He wasn't just falling for her kindness, he was falling for her strength. This romance was becoming far more emotional than he could handle. His secret identity felt more like a coward's cloak than ever. He realized had been so focused on her price that had missed her value. Her value wasn't in money, it was in her character. And my goodness, her character was richer than any dukedom. This heart-touching moment of clarity was shocking to him. He, the rich in disguise, was learning about worth from a poor student. This was the ultimate redemption, and it was happening right in front of him. His entire mission was collapsing, being replaced by true love. He finally understood. Jean Fuller wasn't defined by her poverty. She was defined by her response to it. Rodney Newman, on the other hand, was completely defined by his wealth. Even his secret identity was a reaction to his privilege. This drama was no longer about her, it was about him. Could he be a man worthy of this kindness, this strength? That was the real test. This surprise encounter had bonded them more than his apology ever could. They shared a small, conspiratorial smile. The cold, poor student facade was melting, and Rodney didn't care. He felt a genuine connection, something real in his world of lies. This love story was finally, truly beginning. He was witnessing her destiny, and he desperately wanted to be part of it. But his own secret identity was a ticking time bomb. Rodney's fascination with Jean was now bordering on obsession. Had seen her kindness, her struggle, and her dignity. But the cynic in him, the heir trained by his father, still whispered, "It's all an act. Find the weakness." So he devised the ultimate test, a drama of his own making. He accidentally left his wallet in the library, right near where Jean was studying. It wasn't his poor student wallet, it was his real one, filled with cash. He watched from behind a bookshelf, his heart pounding. This is it. This was the moment his rich in disguise experiment would be proven right. He saw her and noticed the worn leather wallet. She looked around, her eyes scanning the empty tables. She picked it up, her expression merely curious. Here comes a plot twist, he thought. She'll open it. She'll take something. This emotional test felt dirty, but he had to know. Jean opened the wallet, clearly just looking for an ID. Rodney could see the thick stack of $100 bills from his hiding spot. It was more money than she probably saw in a year. Life-changing money. He watched her fingers brush against the cash. Take it. Just take one. This was the shocking surprise had been waiting for. But then, she just closed it. She didn't take a single dollar. Not one. She zipped the wallet into her own backpack, stood up, and walked straight to the library's lost and found desk. Rodney was stunned. He was literally speechless. He watched her hand it over, fill out a small slip, and then leave the library. She returned it, every single dollar. This wasn't just a plot twist, it was a complete narrative collapse. His cynical theory, his entire secret identity mission. It was garbage. He felt a shocking wave of shame, followed by something else. A profound, heart-touching wave of admiration. She was real. My goodness, she was real. Her kindness, her dignity. It was all 100 authentic. This wasn't a love story he was observing. It was true love hitting him like a truck. He, the heir to the dukedom, had just been schooled in integrity. Schooled by the poor student he had tried to trap. This drama was life-changing. He ran out of the library, but Jean was already gone. He felt this overwhelming, emotional need to see her, to confess everything. But what could he say? Hi, I'm actually a rich in disguise duke and I've been testing you? This romance was built on a foundation of his toxic skepticism. His redemption seemed impossible now. He had found the one priceless person in the world and had treated her like a lab rat. This surprise was a final nail in the coffin of his old self. The cynical Rodney Newman was shattered. The poor student had proven to be the richest person had ever met. His dukedom and all its wealth suddenly felt hollow, meaningless. All he wanted was the true love of the woman who just returned his wallet. His destiny wasn't to expose the world's greed. It was to be saved by one person's kindness. What do you think of that? Put yourself in her shoes. Be honest if you found a wallet stuffed with cash. Would you return every dollar? It's a tough one, isn't it? Let us know in the comments. This moral dilemma was the plot twist that changed Rodney forever. He retrieved his wallet, the cash inside feeling heavy and dirty. He knew, in that moment, that he was in love with Jean Fuller, and he was terrified after the wallet incident. Rodney's skepticism didn't just melt, it evaporated. It was gone. His entire secret identity mission was officially over. Now he was just Rodney, the poor student who was hopelessly in love. He abandoned his cynical tests and just spent time with her. They studied together. They complained about professors. They shared cheap coffee. It was simple. It was normal. And for the heir to a dukedom, it was shocking. He was experiencing a heart-touching slice of real life. He saw a genuine goodness in Jean Fuller that had never known. His world was superficial, a drama of alliances and optics. Jean's world was real. Her kindness wasn't a tool, it was her default setting. She'd laugh, a real, unpolished laugh, and his emotional walls would crumble. This love story was no longer romance. He was analyzing. He was living it. And my goodness, it was life-changing. He was, for the first time, truly happy. Had been rich in disguise, but had never felt richer than in these simple moments. He loved listening to her talk about history, her passion infectious. She wasn't just smart, she was wise in a way his expensive tutors never were. This poor student had a grasp on destiny, and purpose had always lacked. His dukedom was a duty, her passion was a joy. This true love was showing him a new way to live, a redemption from the cold, cynical man he was raised to be. But the drama of his deception was a constant, heavy weight. The lie was still there. Every time she smiled at him, he felt a pang of guilt. Every shared joke felt like a betrayal. This love story was built on a massive, shocking lie. He was Rodney Newman, the poor student, but he was also Lord Rodney, and the heir was a coward. He wanted to tell her. He really, truly did. But how? How do you destroy this heart-touching reality you've built? Jean, by the way, am not poor, am an heir to a dukedom. I've been lying to you since day one as part of a sick social experiment. Yeah, that would go over well. He was trapped. This plot twist was one Head created himself, and there was no easy way out. His secret identity had become his prison. He saw the surprise on her face when Head buy her a slightly better coffee. You shouldn't. Rodney, Shed murmur, worried about his fake finances. And the guilt would just crush him. This romance was beautiful, but it was a house of cards. He was living a rich in disguise lie that was hurting the person he loved. This emotional torment was his daily punishment. He was desperate for redemption, but terrified of confession. The more he fell for her, the bigger the lie became. His secret identity was no longer about testing her character. It was now a desperate attempt to protect his one chance at true love. He reasoned that if he just kept it going, maybe he could find the right time. But there's never a right time for a lie that big, is there? This drama was heading for a life-changing catastrophe. He just kept digging the hole deeper. Head watch her, and Head feel this shocking mix of love and terror. Love for the poor student who saved him. Terror that the heir to the dukedom was about to destroy her. This love story was a tragedy in the making. And the plot twist? He was the only villain. His destiny was to hurt her, and he couldn't see a way to stop it. Oh, what a tangle web we weave. The drama wasn't over. Of course it wasn't. That snobby rival, Isabella Montgomery, hadn't forgotten her humiliation. She was wealthy, connected, and incredibly petty. She had been watching Rodney, and something didn't add up. He was a poor student, sure, but he dressed just a bit too well sometimes. His worn-out boots looked suspiciously like expensive, custom-made ones. Her superficial, wealthy world trained her to spot rich in disguise fakes. Isabella, suspecting Rodney Newman wasn't who he said, decided to act, but she didn't confront him. Oh no, she went for what she thought was the weak link. She cornered Jean Fuller in the campus cafe. "Let's cut the crap, Jean," Isabella said, sliding an envelope onto the table. "I don't know what Rodney's game is, but he's not one of us. He's different." Jean just stared, confused. "What are you talking about?" This plot twist was one Jean never saw coming. "He's slumming it," Isabella insisted. "And you're his little charity case. I want you to stay away from him. For good." She pushed the envelope forward. "There's $5,000 in there." Wow, a bribe. This drama just escalated. Isabella truly believed everyone had a price. She was trying to buy Jean's kindness, her love story, for cash. It was a shocking, cynical move. Jean looked at the envelope, then at Isabella's smug face. This was life-changing money for her. It was tuition. It was rent. This was the emotional test Rodney had tried and failed to orchestrate. Here it was real and tangible. A moment of silence stretched, and Isabella smiled, thinking Shed won, but she didn't know Jean Fuller. This romance was not for sale. Jean pushed the envelope right back across the table. "My friendship isn't for sale, Isabella, and neither am I." Her voice didn't waver. It was the same quiet dignity from the library. "I feel sorry for you," Jean added. "You think money is everything, but it's just sad. My goodness, she had done it again. She had chosen character over cash. Her destiny was one of integrity." Rodney, who had walked in looking for Jean, saw the whole exchange from the doorway. He was frozen, his secret identity making him a coward. He heard Jean's refusal. He saw her walk away from $5,000. The shock was so profound he couldn't move. This poor student had just refused a life-changing amount of money. All for him, for their friendship. His true love for her became an emotional avalanche. This heart-touching display of loyalty was a final proof, not that he needed any more. Jean Fuller was invaluable, priceless. His dukedom meant nothing. His heir status meant nothing. Only she mattered. This love story was the realest thing in his life. And Isabella had just accidentally sealed their destiny. But the plot twist had a dark side. Isabella, now furious and rejected, picked up her envelope. She saw Rodney in the doorway, and her eyes narrowed. "I'll find out what your secret is, Rodney Newman," she hissed. The drama was far from over. Rodney knew, right then, his secret identity was living on borrowed time. The rich in disguise game was about to blow up in his face. The incident with Isabella was a life-changing catalyst for Rodney. He was now deeply, irrevocably in love with Jean Fuller. The rich in disguise game was over. The poor student persona felt like a betrayal. He wasn't just playing a part, he was living a lie, and it was suffocating him. He was trapped by his own deception, plain and simple. This love story was the most emotional, heart-touching thing he had ever felt, and it was all built on a secret identity that would destroy her. He dreaded the moment she learned the truth. He was terrified of it. Head played the shocking scene over and over in his mind. Her face, that look of confusion turning into... what? Betrayal? Humiliation? Disgust? This drama was entirely of his making, a plot twist Head authored. The heir to the dukedom was a pathetic coward, hiding from the truth. This wasn't romance, it was a slow-motion disaster. He tried to find the words. Dozens of times. They'd be sitting, laughing over coffee, and He'd think, now. Tell her now. Jean, there's something I need to tell you. And she'd look at him with those open, trusting eyes, and the words would die. Good grief. He couldn't do it. He couldn't be the one to break her heart. He couldn't shatter this true love He'd finally found. So He'd say nothing, and the guilt would twist deeper. His secret identity was no longer a shield, it was a bomb. And the timer was ticking. Isabella was sniffing around. It was only a matter of destiny before the truth came out. And if she found out from someone else? Oh, God, that would be the end. No redemption. No second chances. He had to confess. He had to be the one. But he was paralyzed by fear. This love story was a paradox, the realest emotional connection He'd ever had, and the biggest, most elaborate lie He'd ever told. He, Lord Rodney Newman, was a lost heir in his own life. Lost in a lie, lost in love, and lost on how to fix it. This shocking surprise he was hiding was going to be life-changing, and not in a good way. His dukedom felt like a curse. He started acting strangely. He was jumpy, distant. Jean noticed, of course. She wasn't just kind, she was perceptive. "Rodney, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice filled with heart-touching concern. "You've been a million miles away. Is it money?" And that, of course, just made it 1,000 times worse. She was worried about his fake poverty, while his real wealth was a problem. This drama was becoming a cruel farce. He felt the plot twist tightening around his neck. He was a rich in disguise, but had never felt more trapped or poor. He had to tell her. He would do it. He'd write it all down, explain the cynical experiment, his shock. He'd explain how her kindness had changed him, how it was his redemption. He started writing a letter, a confession, but he never got the chance to give it to her, because destiny, in the form of a misplaced book, intervened. He'd been studying at his hotel, not the library. He'd brought a few personal items from home to feel less fake, among them an old leather-bound book. He'd accidentally left in his bag, a bag he never let Jean carry, until today. The shocking truth was about to come out in the worst way possible. It happened so fast. It was just an accident, a horrible plot twist. Rodney had to run to a fake meeting for his fake job. "Can you grab my bag? I'll meet you at the library," had called out, a simple, life-changing request. Jean Fuller, thinking nothing of it, grabbed his heavy backpack. She got to the library first and, being the helpful person she was, started unpacking his books, her books, and one book that wasn't for class. It was old leather-bound, with a crest embossed on the cover. That's odd, she must have thought. It looked expensive, really expensive. Curious, she opened it. It wasn't a textbook. It was a family diary. The first page, in elegant script, read the private journal of the 12th Duke of Newman. What? This had to be a shocking joke. She flipped through the pages. This was real. Dates, names, entries about estates, titles. About the dukedom. Her heart started to pound. This makes no sense. Rodney Newman, the poor student, and then, tucked inside the back cover, something fell out. It was heavy, gold, a signet ring, bearing the exact same crest as the family diary. My goodness, the drama of that moment, the shock, the world must have tilted on its axis for Jean Fuller. She stared at the ring, the family diary, her mind racing. No, it can't be. But all the weird little pieces started to fit. His strange guardedness, the surprise boots, Isabella's accusations. He's not a poor student. Her emotional state must have been a whirlwind of confusion. She kept reading the family diary, her hands shaking. She found recent entries, not from a duke, but from his heir. The experiment continues. Jean is the subject. I gave her the wallet test today. Am falling for her. The lie is too much. It was all there. His secret identity, the rich in disguise plot, the love story she thought she was in. It was an experiment. She was a subject. The kindness she had shown, the heart-touching moments they shared. It was all just data for some rich kid's cruel game. This plot twist wasn't just shocking, it was humiliating. Lord Rodney Newman, heir to the dukedom, the lost heir, had been found, and he was a monster. She felt sick. The blood drained from her face. This romance was a lie. Her true love was a lie. This life-changing revelation wasn't a fairy tale. It was a nightmare. She put the ring and the family diary back in bag, her movements numb. Just then, Rodney Newman walked in, smiling, breathless from his run. "Hey, sorry I'm late." He started, and then he saw her face. The silence in the library was deafening. Rodney's smile froze, then vanished. He saw the family diary on the table. "Oh no. Oh my God. No." He looked at Jean's face. It was pale, devoid of all kindness. It was a mask of pure, cold shock. "Jean," he whispered, his voice failing. This was it. The plot twist had finally caught up to him. The drama he dreaded was here, and it was worse than he imagined. She didn't cry. Not yet. She was too emotional for tears. She was vibrating with a quiet, terrible rage. "Subject," she said, her voice a dead monotone. "What?" Rodney asked, his mind reeling. "That's what I am, right? Jean is the subject?" She quoted from his family diary. Ouch! The shocking word hung between them. He had no defense. His secret identity was shattered. "Jean, please, let me explain," he begged, reaching for her. She flinched back, recoiling as if it had burned her. "That hurt." "Explain what?" she hissed, her voice rising. "Explain the wallet test? Explain how you, Lord Rodney Newman, heir to a dukedom, enjoy playing? Was it fun? Was my poverty entertaining for you?" Her words were daggers, and every single one hit true. This was not a love story, it was a confrontation. He was speechless. The rich in disguise had nothing to say. "You let me share my dreams," she continued, her voice breaking. "You let me worry about your fake money. You let me care about you, all while it was just a game, a poor student for you to pity." The humiliation in her voice was heart-touching in the most painful way. He could see his redemption flying out the window. This life-changing moment was destroying her. It wasn't like that. He finally managed, his voice cracking. Not at the end. It started as an experiment. Yes, a cynical, stupid drama. But you changed me. I fell in love with you. You what? She laughed, a bitter, shocking sound. You fell in love? You don't know what true love is. This romance was just a rich man's sport. She was right. How could he deny it? You didn't just lie about being a poor student. She said, finally standing. You lied about everything. About being a friend. About being a person. The secret identity wasn't just a disguise. Rodney, it was a weapon. And you aimed it right at me. The heir to the dukedom had never felt so small. He had played a cruel game with her poverty and her emotional trust. And he had lost everything. She picked up her own, truly worn-out bag. "I hope your experiment was a success, Lord Newman." The way she said his title was filled with contempt. I hope you got all the data you needed. Jean, please, he pleaded. Don't do this. Do what? She asked. An experiment? It's over. She turned and walked out of the library, leaving him with his family diary. The surprise of her departure was absolute. He didn't run after her. He couldn't. He was paralyzed by the drama. The plot twist had revealed him as the villain of his own story. He, the rich in disguise, had confirmed his own cynical worldview. He had hurt her. He had used her. His destiny wasn't true love. It was to be alone with the shocking consequences of his lie. Jean Fuller disappeared, vanished. She didn't just walk out of the library, she walked out of his life. She wasn't at her apartment. She wasn't in class. Rodney, in a shocking panic, called her phone. Straight to voicemail. He texted. No reply. She was gone. My goodness, she was gone. This emotional cutoff was brutal and absolute. He was left in a void, his heart-touching love story now a pile of ash. He couldn't blame her. Of course he couldn't. She was convinced his entire love was just part of the drama. A rich man's social experiment. A rich in disguise game. How could she believe his true love was real when the poor student she loved wasn't? He had destroyed his own credibility. His secret identity had been too effective. This plot twist was his own personal hell. He was shattered. The heir to the dukedom was a wreck. He skipped his own classes, wandering the campus like a ghost. The poor student disguise was gone, but he felt more lost than ever. He was just Rodney Newman, the liar. This romance had become a life-changing lesson in consequences. He had taken her kindness and her trust and humiliated her with it. His experiment was a success. All right, it proved he was a monster. He kept remembering the look on her face. The shock, the humiliation, the betrayal. It was a heart-touching look of absolute devastation. And he had caused it. This drama was a tragedy, and he was the sole reason. His destiny seemed to be destroying the one good thing Head ever found. His redemption felt utterly impossible. Jean Fuller was convinced it was all a game. How could she think otherwise? The family diary spelled it out. She was a subject. His confession of true love in the library must have sounded like the cruelest surprise of all. Just one more emotional manipulation from the rich in disguise. She was protecting herself, and he knew it. She was showing that same strength she had shown Isabella. She was cutting him out. This shocking absence was a physical pain. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. His dukedom felt like a prison. His title a brand of shame. He, the lost heir, had found himself, only to lose the person who showed him the way. This love story was a plot twist that ended in total loss. He had to find her. He had to prove his feelings were real. But how? The poor student Rodney was a lie she'd never trust again. And Lord Rodney was the villain. He was trapped between his two identities, neither of them worthy of her. This life-changing drama had stripped him bare. He had to do something. He couldn't let his destiny be this emotional wasteland. He had to fight for his redemption. He realized his kindness, or lack thereof, was the issue. He had approached her with cynicism and had been repaid with justice. The experiment is over, Shed said, but his true love wasn't. He had to find her, and this time, he wouldn't use his secret identity. He would use the one thing had been hiding the truth. All of it. Rodney Newman was shattered by her absence, completely broken. This emotional void was his rock bottom. After 2 days of frantic, failed attempts as Rodney the poor student, he made a choice. The drama was over. The lies were over. He abandoned his disguise, the worn-out clothes, the entire secret identity. He went back to his hotel and made a call. It was time to use the one thing had been hiding his power. I need to find someone, he said to his family's head of security. He was no longer the rich in disguise experimenter. He was the heir to the dukedom. He used his full ducal resources, sparing no expense. Private investigators, database searches, everything. It was a shocking display of power had always taken for granted. But now, he was using it not for a cynical game, but for true love. He was desperate to find Jean Fuller and prove his feelings were real. The plot twist was that finding her was easy, too easy for his resources. She hadn't fled the city. She had just gone underground. She had dropped out of university. Ouch! She had given up her dream because of him. That was a life-changing blow. She was working a menial, cash-in-hand job at a diner across town, trying to disappear to save money to go somewhere else. This redemption was going to be harder than he thought. He felt a shocking surge of shame. His drama had cost her everything. Her education, her dreams. This love story was a heart-touching disaster. He, the heir to the dukedom, had ruined the poor student who showed him kindness. This wasn't a romance. It was a hostile takeover of her life. He had to fix it. He had to try. His destiny was to make this right. He drove to the diner, not in a limo, but in a simple car. He was dressed in his own clothes, no longer a rich in disguise caricature. He walked in, the bell jangling, and there she was, Jean Fuller. Her hair was tied back. Her face was pale and exhausted. She was wiping down a counter. She looked up, saw him, and her emotional mask of neutrality slammed into place. "Jean," he said, his voice raw. "You need to leave," she said, not looking at him. "I'm working." "Please," he begged. 5 minutes. Please. The drama of the diner, the smell of old coffee, it all faded. It was just them. The lost heir and the woman had broken. This wasn't a love story. It was a plea for redemption. And my goodness, he was desperate. She finally looked at him, her eyes cold. There's nothing to say, Lord Newman. That name. It was a shock every time. "There is," he insisted. "There's everything. I was wrong. I was a fool. A cruel, cynical fool." This was his confession. The plot twist had hidden for so long. His secret identity was a disease, and her kindness was a cure had rejected. He had to prove his true love was real. He had to show her the life-changing impact Shed had on him. "You were right," he said, his voice breaking. "My whole life was a game, a world of lies. But you were the only real thing in it, and I was too stupid and too scared to see it." This emotional plea was his last chance. He found Jean Fuller working that menial job, and the sight of her broke his heart. She looked tired, the shock of his secret identity having drained the life from her. "Please, Jean," he pleaded, right there in the diner. "I can't," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You made a fool of me." "I know," he said, and the emotional agony in his own voice was shocking. "I was a fool. I came here with this sick idea." This was his last chance for redemption, and my goodness, he took it. He confessed everything. Everything, his cynical worldview, inherited from his dukedom, his father's motto, "Everyone has a price," his rich in disguise experiment to prove it. "I wanted you to be fake," he admitted, a heart-touching, painful truth. "I needed you to take the money from the wallet." The drama of his confession hung heavy in the air. "And then, you didn't," he continued, his voice thick with emotion. "You showed me kindness. You showed me dignity. You, Jean, you saved me from it. From him. From becoming that. Your authenticity. It saved me. It was life-changing." This wasn't a romance speech. It was a desperate confession. This love story was his only hope. He was a lost heir, and she was the one who found him. Jean listened, her arms crossed, her face a mask of conflict. She wanted to hate him. She needed to, but the drama in his eyes, the genuine pain. It was his turn to be vulnerable. This wasn't the cold, poor student or the arrogant heir. This was just Rodney, a broken man. This plot twist, his utter vulnerability, was the one thing she hadn't expected. Was this true love? "I don't know what to believe," she whispered. "Believe this," he said, taking a step closer. "I love you, Jean Fuller. Not as an experiment, not as a poor student. I love you, the woman who shared her lunch, the woman who refused a bribe, the woman whose character is richer than my entire dukedom." This emotional declaration was the absolute truth. His secret identity was gone, and only this true love remained. "I can't fix what I broke," he said, his voice low. "I can't undo the humiliation, but I can spend my entire life making it up to you. This is my redemption, Jean, and it's only you. This heart-touching plea was all he had. His destiny was in her hands. What a surprise. The rich in disguise needed saving, and the poor student had all the power. Just as Jean's cold exterior began to thaw, the diner door burst open. Oh no, the drama wasn't over. It was Isabella, and she wasn't alone. She was flanked by two imposing figures, Rodney's parents, the Duke and Duchess. They had followed him. This shocking surprise was the worst possible timing. This love story was about to face its greatest test. Rodney, his mother said, her voice like ice, "Get away from this, girl, and get in the car." Now, the dukedom had arrived, and it was here to reclaim its heir. Jean's face hardened. Of course, this was all part of the drama. Rodney's heart sank. His redemption was just interrupted by his past. Topico 14. This was the plot twist from hell. Rodney's powerful family, the Duke and Duchess, stood in the diner like royalty, and right next to them, smirking, was a snobby rival, Isabella. She had been the one. She had figured out his secret identity and called his parents. Rodney, his father, the Duke, boomed. This drama ends now. He looked at Jean Fuller with utter disdain. This match is forbidden. This wasn't a request. It was a shocking command. Jean flinched but stood her ground. My goodness, her strength. Rodney stepped in front of her, shielding her. "This has nothing to do with you," Rodney said to his father. "It has everything to do with this dukedom." The Duke roared, "You are the heir. You will not throw away your destiny for her." The emotional cruelty was blatant. They were treating Jean like nothing. Isabella piled on. He was just playing Jean, a rich in disguise game. Tell her, Rodney. Tell her she was just a poor student distraction. The drama was escalating, and Jean's face was crumbling. She was starting to believe them, to doubt his confession. This romance was being ripped apart by the very people had been hiding from. This heart-touching love story was turning into a public execution. Rodney had to make a life-changing choice. Right now, his father saw the hesitation. He played his final card. You choose her, Rodney, and you are no longer my heir. You will be disinherited. No dukedom, no title, no money, nothing. The shocking threat hung in the air. His entire life, his destiny, his inheritance, versus the poor student had lied to. Everyone stared at him. Jean, his parents, Isabella. This was the ultimate plot twist. Jean looked at him, and her eyes weren't angry anymore. They were sad. She expected him to fold. Everyone expected him to fold. This was his redemption test. He, the lost heir, had to choose who he truly was. Rodney looked at his father, the man whose cynical worldview had almost adopted. Then he looked at Jean, the woman whose kindness had saved him. And in that life-changing moment, the choice was easy. "Then I choose nothing," Rodney said, his voice ringing with clarity. He turned to Jean and took her hand. Her hand. "I choose her." The shock on his father's face was absolute. Isabella's smirk vanished. This romance wasn't just true love, it was a rebellion. He chose Jean Fuller over his title. "Rodney, don't be a fool," his mother shrieked. "The only fool I've been," Rodney said, "was lying to this woman for a month. You can keep the dukedom." He held Jean's hand tightly. "I found something worth more." This emotional declaration was his true redemption. He was no longer the heir. He was no longer the poor student. He was just Rodney, and he was hers. "This isn't over," his father seethed, his face purple with rage. He and the Duchess stormed out, Isabella scrambling after them. The diner was silent again, just Rodney and Jean. She was staring at him, stunned. You mean it?" she whispered. "I've never meant anything more," he said. This love story had survived, but the war had just begun. The drama was far from over. Of course, Rodney's family didn't just disappear, they regrouped. The university's annual gala was approaching a massive event. Rodney and Jean, now a shocking item, decided to go. They needed to make a statement they were together, regardless of the dukedom. Jean was terrified, but Rodney held her hand. "We do this together." This love story was going public, but his family and the snobby rival, Isabella, had a plot twist planned. They saw this as a perfect stage to end the romance for good. They planned to publicly expose Jean, to humiliate her, to paint her as a gold digger who had tricked the lost heir. This was their emotional warfare. They were going to destroy the poor student in front of everyone. My goodness, the cruelty of these people. The gala was a sea of wealth and power. Jean, in a simple but elegant dress Rodney had bought her, felt out of place. "It's okay," he whispered. "Your kindness outshines them all." But then, Isabella took the stage for a special announcement. Rodney's heart stopped. "Oh no, we have a special guest tonight," Isabella said, her voice dripping venom. "Miss Jean Fuller, the poor student who snagged herself an heir." The crowd gasped. The shocking attack was brutal. Isabella laid it all out, the secret identity, the rich in disguise game. But she spun the drama with a shocking twist. She knew he was all along. Isabella lied, her voice ringing out. She played him. She trapped the heir to the dukedom. She's a gold digger. Jean's face went white. This was her worst nightmare. This heart-touching love story was being painted as a crime. Jean felt the eyes of everyone on her. She felt humiliated, exposed, just as Rodney had feared. This emotional assault was life-changing. She looked at Rodney, her eyes filling with tears, and she started to turn, to run. This romance was too much. The drama was too painful. She was just a poor student. She didn't belong here. But Rodney wasn't going to let her run. He wasn't the coward from the library anymore. He wasn't the heir trapped by his dukedom. He was the man who had found his redemption. "No," he said, holding her arm firmly but gently. Before Isabella could say another word, Rodney let go of Jean's hand. And he walked straight toward the stage. The plot twist was not over yet. He was furious. This drama his family created, this humiliation. He was going to end it. He grabbed the microphone from a stunned Isabella. The room was dead silent. "She's right about one thing," Rodney said, his voice booming. "I'm the heir to the dukedom, and I did lie." The shocking confession stunned the crowd. "I was rich in disguise, testing a cynical theory, but I was the one who was trapped. I was trapped in a world of people like you," he said, glaring at Isabella, "a world where kindness is a weakness and love is a transaction. And that woman," he pointed to Jean, "saved me from it. This true love was his destiny." And he was about to claim it out. Rodney stood on that stage, the microphone in his hand, the spotlight on him, the entire dukedom elite, his parents. And as shocked Isabella watched, he had interrupted her drama, and now he would start his own. "That Isabella wants to talk about gold diggers," Rodney announced. "Let's talk about value. I've been surrounded by wealth my entire life that I've seen people trade their dignity for a title." He looked right at Isabella, said, "I've seen people lie and bribe and bully. And then I met Jean Fuller," he said, his voice softened. He looked at her, standing stunned in the crowd, a poor student. Yes, at a woman who worked 2 jobs, at a woman who shared her lunch with a stranger she thought was poor, at a woman who, my goodness, returned a wallet full of cash. A shocking murmur went through the crowd. This plot twist was emotional. "Isabella here. He just tried to bribe her to my family." He looked at his parents, threatened to disinherit me. They offered her money, and they offered me a dukedom. And both of us turned them down. The shock in the room was palpable. This drama was life-changing. He was exposing everyone. This was his redemption. Live on stage, Jean Fuller, Rodney continued, didn't trap an heir, she saved a lost heir from himself. She saved me. She taught me what kindness, true love, and destiny actually mean. This heart-touching speech was destroying his family's reputation. He, the rich in disguise, was revealing the poverty of their character. This love story was his ultimate triumph. This romance was real, and he was proving it. He locked eyes with Jean, who was now crying, but not smiling. "So, I have my own announcement," Rodney said, his voice full of true love. "You can have the dukedom, you can have the title, because I'm officially announcing my engagement to Jean Fuller." The ultimate plot twist. The room erupted. His father was furious. Isabella was mortified. This shocking surprise was the end of the drama. That Rodney walked off the stage. Ignoring the gasps, he walked straight to Jean through the stunned crowd. He dropped to one knee. Right there, I don't have the signet ring. He choked out, laughing through tears. It's that complicated. But, Jean Fuller, will you marry me? This emotional public proposal was everything. This love story was real. Jean pulled him to his feet, tears streaming down her face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, you fool. Yes, he kissed her, and the gala crowd actually started to applaud. This heart-touching romance had won. The poor student and the heir had found their destiny. This was Jean's ultimate triumph, a life-changing moment of redemption. She wasn't just kindness, she was strength. And she had won that Rodney held her, not caring about the dukedom or the drama. He was no longer rich in disguise or the lost heir. He was just Rodney, and she was just Jean. And that shocking surprise was all that mattered. Their true love story was just beginning. It was a plot twist written by destiny itself and my goodness, it was beautiful in the end. It was never about the dukedom. It was never about the money. It was about the shocking realization that true wealth is character. It's the kindness you show when no one is watching. It's the dignity you keep when you have nothing else. Jean Fuller was the poor student, but she was the richest person in the story. And Rodney was a lost heir who was found, not by a family diary, but by true love. This life-changing story is a reminder, don't let the world make you cynical. That if you, too, believe that kindness is a superpower, that if you believe that your character is your true destiny, then you have found your place. Subscribe and join our community of people who look for the good in the world. We need more people like you here now for the trifecta. Like this video as a cheers for Jean and Rodney's true love triumph. Comment with the exact moment in the story that hit you the hardest. Was it the wallet, the family diary, the final proposal? Let's talk about that emotional peak. Share this story with one person you know who needs a reminder that good people still exist. Be the one to share that heart-touching message today, and don't let the journey end here. While you wait for the next story, know that our channel is a treasure chest of emotional journeys just like this one that explore our older videos and discover the other shocking and heart-touching stories you've missed. And to make sure you never miss what's coming next, hit that notification bell. You won't want to be left out of the next plot twist. Well, see you in the comments.